Dave, I can imagine that you're not super excited about this one coming up, and that is Jack Holmes, Master of Puppets.
I'm not excited, but
Okay.
I'm curious.
Okay.
That I think that's a good way to put it. I'm curious,
Yeah.
at least.
Okay.
What are you excited about?
I don't know if I'm super excited about it either. It's one of those curious as well. It's there's elements that are kind of intriguing to me about this game. Overall, the game kind of looks silly and kind of reminds me of what's that twisted what game did we review? That other indie horror game. Like they had the clock towers and stuff like that. It was forgettable.
Oh yeah. The one Jared Leto's Joker meets Willy Wonka.
Yeah, yeah. What was that one called? Oh, I'm blanking. It's gonna bother me.
Oh, that's gonna bother me too. That's gonna bother me too.
Shoot. Sorry, I'm thinking. Actually, I'm pulling it up real quick. Nope. We're almost there. Oh, Twisted Tower.
That's it. Twisted Tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew. I thought it was
Um,
Twisted something.
I mean, I think what's kind of doing this for me that's still piquing my interest is basically the setting. So guys, if you don't know anything about this game, basically you're playing as Eddie. You're a 12-year-old boy who goes to an amusement park with his parents, and then madness ensues.
I think you got it. I think you have the prologue. The prologue is when he's a 12-year-old boy named Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, okay. But either way, the setting is at a carnival, right?
Yep. The setting's at a carnival. So quick things about this game, real quick. It's made by TonyDevGame. It's supposed to be a first-person action or first-person survival horror game. Like I said, the prologue is out now, and I think that's where Dave's getting the 12-year-old boy. Essentially, though, you're returning to this your family business after disowning his family at the age of 12. So, and then since he couldn't find a job, he's like, okay, I'm gonna come back to my family and kind of take off the family business. And I think he's like an investigator, and he's like sent to investigate different things about like what's going on. And so, like, yeah, he's supposed to investigate the Macabre. Is that how you say that word?
I
Macabre?
believe so.
Yeah,
I feel
experiments with
Macabre.
children. Yeah, Macabre, maybe. You're supposed to investigate the Macabre experiments with children, the result of an mind unhinged by madness and family loss. So that's a description of what the game is supposed to be about. And let's go ahead and pull up the trailer so we can kind of dive into that a little bit. Here it
Let's
is.
take a look at the trailer because I do think the trailer looks really cool, and I think it's just like I kind of like this setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this setting has something that like just appeals to me. You know, I like the darkness and like the scariness and all that types of stuff.
Yeah. When I first saw it, though, I was like, oh man, this game looks kind of lame and anything like that. And so, but my perspective of this game, so if you're just watching, like, it's just a bunch of these, like, animatronics, like, jumping out at you, like, almost like, to me, it's got, like a PlayStation 2, like, game style. You know what I mean? Like, just, like, the character design, the way the blood splatters. That's what I kind
was
of
getting
felt when I
that.
first watched it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
so
was
right now
I
you
was
see,
getting
like,
that
shooting these
vibe.
little, yeah, shooting these little teddy bears. Um, and just explosions, some really weird like character designs. You'll get to ride the roller coasters as you see in this spot. So there's just elements of this game that are very unique to what it is. And there's tons of different like characters and things like that. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I love they did the little shout out to the Pirates of the Caribbean there.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too where
Yeah.
they were waving.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think the game looks really, really cool, but I think I'm trying to figure out a way to describe this. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like if Five Nights at Freddy's was like a first-person shooter that you could move around. Does that make
okay.
sense?
Yeah, I can see that.
That's kind of what it. That's.
Isn't there a new
Go ahead.
Five Nights at Freddy's that is kind of open world where you can move around more?
I don't know. Is it?
I thought there is. And there's like a Suicide Squad, Squid Games falling through the glass floor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, this is just a game that just popped up and I was like, okay, this is unique. Let's talk about it. And honestly, so like I said, the more I watched the trailers and watched and read about this, I was I kind of like I wasn't impressed at first, but the more I thought about it, especially because it's a small indie developer, like the characters are actually really like cool and like I feel like thought out and like to make it feel like fitting for this game. And so that's why I thought it was really cool. The level design is really neat. And so there will be different level locations that they'll be able to go to. So the house where the kids were experimented on, an abandoned mine, amusement parks, and then each of these places will have mini games too. So I think it's like game within a game, but also like different locations, and I think that's really neat.
Yeah, I do think it's really, really cool, and I'm glad that they included these like mini games, and like you said, you can ride the roller coasters, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like might not be like a game that you're super like intense about, like spending hours upon hours in this game, but I think this is more of a game for it's like I kind of just want to chill out for like an hour and just like do something fun. I think this is gonna be that game. You know what I mean?
And I think it's just random. It's a game that like really like it's not a game that you typically play. Like you don't see this game on the market very often. So like you said, it's just something unique that you can just jump in there and be like, let's just sit down and try this for a couple hours. It's not going to be the best game I've ever played, but it's going to be different than anything I've ever played before. And a little bit into the game mechanics. So you'll like ammunition will be scarce. You have to make sure like be aware of how much you have. Same with first aid kits. One thing that I thought that would be cool, or that I thought was cool, is like so in this game you can't hide. Like the enemies will always be able to find you. So there's like not a spot where you can hide and like catch your breath. Like no, they're always going to be after you. So I thought that was a really cool element to this game. I think except for probably when you're riding the rides, like they're not going to be able to get you. So maybe that's like they're enticing you to like hop on the rides just so you can like catch your breath instead of being chased the whole time. And so I thought that was really cool. There'll be different various of types of bosses and enemies. So, and we saw a couple of those. So I think it's gonna be pretty unique.
That'd be kind of funny though if like they did chase you while you were on the roller coaster. Like you're like going up the roller coaster and you see this like horde of like zombie like enemies just running up the tracks after you. That would be kind of funny.
But other than that, like this isn't a game that I think is gonna blow people away for the high quality of what this game is gonna be. I think it's gonna like just be a fun 2 hour, 3 hour game that you just try with your friends in the room. Like, hey, let's check out this game. Or if you're a streamer, you're like checking it out on stream. Like, I think that's what this game's gonna be.
For for a first person shooter, it honestly it doesn't have to be very much, you know what I mean? And it's like they could go really crazy in depth, but every once in a while you just want to play an FPS where you just kind of like run around and blast some stuff. And I think this is going to be that game for you. Like we said, it's going to be a fun game that you can play for a couple hours. I love the setting. I think just the overnight abandoned kind of carnival setting is just like top notch. Absolutely love that. And I do think that this game is gonna have like a little bit. It is gonna have a storyline. I like we talk about like it's gonna be a game where you just play for a couple hours, but I mean you're gonna be doing something in this game because if you go to the Steam page, it says if you make it to the end. Get ready to meet someone or something like that. So I mean, it is implying that there is going to be a progression of storyline throughout the game. So I think there's going to be a lot more there.
And I think to the story, it's gonna have a little bit more depth than probably what it looks like. I think it's gonna have some elements like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, or really, this is like how this came about. Especially like trying to figure out what these like experiments on these kids were. Like, what were they doing to these kids, and why were they doing this to these kids? And maybe it's gonna show like why Jack had an issue with his family back in the day. Like, I feel like it's gonna have some depth to it than just a horror game.
Like you said, the prologue, you play as 12-year-old Jack, and then you're leaving, and then you're coming back. Well, it's like, well, something had to have happened to your family in that time. Something had to have happened that you're kind of like you need to figure out, and I think that that's gonna be part of the storyline too. So I do think that this game is gonna offer more than maybe people are expecting from it. And like we said, there's it's a really cool setting. It's a really cool it's got a great look. It's got a great vibe to it too. So I'm actually kind of excited for it.
Yeah, I am too. It's one I'll put on my radar. It's not gonna be one I like probably buy right away, but I'll look at what other people are saying about it as it comes out. but it's definitely a game that has my interest too.
Take a look at it, pop it on the wish list. I can't imagine it's going to be super, super expensive, and it could be a bigger bang for your buck than you might expect.